Guys, Fula coming to you with another video slash commentary. So, shout outs to Mahdi Tijani. He brought something to my attention. Um, and it just goes to show you how these liberals creep in, and also how, unfortunately, Keisha culture creeps into Islam. It's sad to say it, but they bring it into Islam. Some, they bring not only liberalism into Islam, but they, like Keisha brings her baggage into Islam as well. And unfortunately, as a result of that, it spreads like wildfire. Nailatu alayhi salatu salam, he said basically, you will certainly follow the ways of those who came before you, handspan by handspan, cubit by cubit, to the extent that if they enter the hole of a lizard, you will enter too. The companion said, Nailatu alayhi salatu salam, you mean the Jews and the Christians? He alayhi salatu salam said, who else? That's one hadith, and then the other hadith, he actually said, I'll read the Arabic first. He said, and Ibn Umar qala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, min tasha baha biqawmi fahuwa minhum. And basically that means, whoever imitates the people is one of them. So I hate to say it, but I really hate to say this, but when a Halima, and I'm talking about westernized ones, when a Halima, when a Fatimata imitates a Keisha, she becomes a Keisha. And so when like Halima or a Fatimata imitates a Karen, she becomes a Karen. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, like, I don't know why you would want to do that. And it's not going to be good for you. And I hate to say this in the harsh way that I'm about to say it, but when you play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes. You see the stupid games they're playing, and you see the stupid prizes that they win. So why would you even want to partake in that? Why? Because it looks fun or something? Is that what it is that you think, like, oh, this looks fun? Like, what's the deal? Like, what do you guys thinking? Like, what's on your mind when you guys do things like this? I just want to know. But anyhow, let's go ahead and look at this this thing, and let's break it down.
Hey, assalamu alaikum. Look, Muslim man, Yid Baraka, halal income. Look, in the past year and a half, I believe, you look over here on this graph, February 2020 until...
It's not just a headscarf, it's a...
Hey, good humans, welcome to another episode of Spectrum. This is...
So when you have like effeminate men anyway who are running a show, what do you expect? When you have effeminate men, like what do you expect to happen? But let's continue on.
Michael.
Hello.
I'm Ian, and stick around at the end. We're going to talk a little bit with you.
Believing men and believing women. Same level.
No, disagree. I have in the court of law, the Quran explicitly states
I'm sorry.
2 female witnesses carry the weight of 1 male, and that's why I stood over there.
So the fact that you have someone that actually says somewhat agree goes to show you what kind of time they're on anyway. Everybody knows that's like the canonical law, is that praying 5 times a day is a fard. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it unless the woman is on her menses. That's the only excuse you have. That's the only reprieve you get. But other than that, there's nothing else. So this just goes to show you what kind of time the men are on even.
I wish I was there with you guys. It's honestly, it just gets really hard. It's just 5 times a day, and it's spread throughout the day. We all live young professional lives, and it gets kind of...
Okay. Number one, okay, you can pray. Okay, so let's say that you have a busy life. You lead a busy life, right? The prayers, the amount of time you have to do the prayers is so spaced out that there's no reason you should miss the prayers. Even if you have to do the worst thing, which is combine the prayers. For example, let's say you have the afternoon prayer and then you have the late afternoon prayer. Let's say that from 12 to 6 at night or 6 in the evening, you're busy. You can't, there's no way you can, get the prayer in. Okay? Let's just say that, hypothetically speaking, you can still pray those 2 prayers together before the sun sets. Now, Maghrib, let's say the evening prayer and the night prayer, right? Those prayers can be prayed together too. And you have until the wee hours of the morning until the dawn prayer the next day. So there's absolutely no excuse. It's just, I don't know what's up with this guy, man. For real.
in the way.
If I could quantify it, I'm averaging about 3 out of 5 prayers. I think I will find myself in prayer more when I'm in desperation. It's not something that's subjective.
And that's bad. That's bad. You shouldn't have that. You should be praying at all times. You should be thankful to God, and acknowledge him in good times and bad times. You should acknowledge him. You shouldn't be oh, I'm just going to pray when I'm in a bad situation.
I know we should be all praying as a requirement.
I just want to say it takes a lot of guts to be honest and say that. I honestly believe that if you feel it in your heart that you have a strong relationship with God, God will have mercy on you with whatever you're dealing with. So
being on this line doesn't mean it's a piece of cake to do the 5 daily.
The fact that these men are telling these women this is just showing how weak they really are. And of course you have Keisha, and then you have maybe Amira. you know, oh my God. I wonder what the prophet would do. If I wonder, like, how Nalado would feel about this, alayhi salatu salam, if he was walking this earth's surface and he was witnessing this.
Prayers. It is a struggle. It's a challenge. I was working in a corporate environment where I could not comfortably find a space, so I'd have to go pray in the car or in the parking lot. So it is a challenge, but yeah.
Islam promotes violence. 3, 2, 1.
We're not allowed to cut down trees during war. We're not allowed to hurt children and mothers. We're not allowed to hurt our own prisoners. And when people associate terrorism, something so disgusting with Islam, it hurts me because ISIS targets Muslims more than they target anybody else. And in the age of Google, there's no excuse. Like, if you don't know that Islam means peace, Islam means surrender, being a Muslim is one who submits their will.
Well, the problem is, I hate to say it, but when you bring certain cultural aspects into Islam, guess what happens? People say, hey, those darn Muslims again. And I'll give you a prime example. I'm not trying to like stereotype or box in one group, but there's one group of Muslims, you know, and I see it sometimes. They typically dislike Belejo, right? But they act like them, meaning that they have gangs, meaning that they do like smash and grab, meaning that they do all these things. So it's easy for people to be like, okay, oh, those are just the Muslims again. And I'm talking about Somalis, okay? Especially the ones in Minnesota. I'm just going to leave it at that. So I can, in one way, I can understand how people would associate Islam with violence when, again, you bring Pookie Ray Ray culture into it. You know what I mean? And then these people call themselves Muslim. So I understand completely. But let's continue.
To God, how is that violent? Like,
At the end of the day, I feel like media is the one that has that hand and that stronghold causing folks to be that way or think that way.
I guess I literally listened to the prompt, does Islam promote violence? And I'm only speaking not from my personal perspective, but just from trying to understand how discussions about this religion can be used to defame it, to justify terrorism per se. When somebody says, and for the record, kill a non-believer, let's acknowledge that sentence. And if we're going to reach a conclusion and a solution with somebody who does think this way of us and our faith, we need to understand their argument thoroughly.
but I disagree with what you just said.
Please.
I really do, because I read the Quran every day as a practice. And not once in 2019 have I yet gotten to a verse about violence. All of them about mercy of God.
Okay, well, obviously you haven't read the Quran then. Because it does indeed say Qatlu fi sabilillah, which means fight in the cause of Allah until they stop fighting you. Okay, it does say there are specific verses that do give, and it says like it says many verses. Okay, it says Qatlu fi sabilillah, Mujadidu fi sabilillah. It said there's many verses that say, hey, you have to fight. Okay, it doesn't mean that you like indiscriminately fight. It means you defend yourself, fight. So again, when you have Keisha running the helm of things with her masculine energy, things like this are bound to happen. I'm just letting you know.
Turn to God. God is with you. To me,
Are
that's
you
an
denying the
emotional
verses?
connection.
Okay, I understand.
That is an emotional connection to my creator.
Sure.
And I'm not going to allow anybody to take that away.
I'll take the statement that you
Please.
gave, kill the non-believers. At the time of the Holy Prophet, the Muslims were endangered. They were the
Correct.
minority, right?
That's what I'm saying.
So, but it doesn't necessarily mean that because we are in danger that whenever there's a non-believer, we kill them.
No.
What non-believer refers to are like the Meccans or like the people that were actively going against Muslims
Right.
and trying to.
So that's I can agree with that. Like, you don't just go around like trying to like cause terror or wreak havoc and like, you know, be predatory. I do agree with that. I do agree that, you know, it's if you're being oppressed, that's when you have to turn it up. But if you're not being oppressed, then no, you don't do it. I agree.
Harmless and stuff.
And I wanted this healthy
Okay.
discourse.
Yes, and
because
I agree with
dwell
you.
upon that other perspective. I didn't grow up proud of those verses because I didn't understand them.
Yeah,
but
and
now
several
that I do
times-
have full understanding, I know that it's important to keep not a one-dimensional perspective, but not even accept the others, but thoroughly understand it.
The job should be mandatory. 3, 2, 1.
Brothers and sisters, this is urgent. I am in South Buffalo, New York, where there is no masjid for the community.
Of course, Keisha.
I have strong feelings.
Of course, Keisha disagrees. Of course, Keisha strongly disagrees. I knew that was coming. You know, I knew that was coming from a while away, just based on Keisha culture. You know, I knew she was just gonna be like gone to that to the place, to the strongly disagree. And guess what? There's nobody who's on strongly agree.
I just feel like it's a woman's right to cover if she wants to. And to tell a woman what to do with her body is totally against our Islamic principles. So
There goes that feminism crap again. Let me pull up the hadith that says something about that, actually. Let me pull it up real quick. Just give me a minute. Okay, so okay, so listen to this hadith, and this is in Muslim. This is in Muslim right here. This is in Muslim. Okay, so she needs to really recognize what she's talking about. All right, and let's read the hadith. And granted, I'm not like really a hadith person like that. Okay, I'm just saying it to give my evidences on the reason why I believe the way I do, you know. But I mean I do take into considerations people's customs and stuff like that. I do take that into consideration. But if you're claiming something and you're doing opposite of what you claim, then, you know, like, what can I say? You know, you can still like be covered without wearing a hijab. You can still add something, some modest dress that's fashionable without having to wear a hijab. You know, you can still cover up. You know, if hijab is not your thing, you know, there's many alternatives. But again, Keisha. Now, it was reported that Neladu alayhi salatu salam said there are two types of people of hell that I have not yet seen. Men with whips like the tails of cattle, with which they strike the people, and women who are clothed yet naked, walking with an enticing gait, with something on their heads that looks like the humps of the camels, leaning to one side. They will never enter paradise or even smell its fragrance. Okay. So, yeah. That's what the hadith said. And that was from a Muslim, you know. But let's continue.
You know, being a guy here, I just made a really conscious decision to be like somewhat agree, because people don't understand that hijab is like a concept, as far as like, it's not just like the actual headscarf. Islam really promotes the idea of modesty, and that's
that part right there too. Like, I know there is, and you know, shout outs to her. I know a girl, you know, she was a good friend. Yeah, she was a good friend. Her name was Dalila. And Dalila, you know, she was in track and field. She runs 400 hurdles. Now, Dalila, you know, she said the same thing about the hijab too. And for her, it's like, okay, I kind of understand if she's doing her sports. You know what I mean? Like maybe like you know, you have to be efficient in your sport. I get that, you know, I get that. But if you're just like this Keisha saying, hey, you know, it's up to you what you want to wear, your body, your choice, pushing that feminism crap, then it's like, okay, woman, we see what you're doing.
They get closer to God. And if you feel like having a headscarf is a way for you to get closer to God, then so be it.
100% agree with that, because it's not just a headscarf, it's your behavior, it's a personality, it's how you treat your friends and your neighbors. Yeah, for a lot of people, the process is build my courage, my bravery, and my confidence, and then wear the scarf. For me, it was kind of reverse. I started with the scarf because I knew that I was not going to build that bravery unless I started wearing it. Because when you put it on, you start acting different, you start acting nicer, you're kinder, because now you're representing your religion, your faith.
You make me think really deep about that, because I've been struggling. I wore it when I was about 15. I tried it out, but it's been a struggle because internally I want to be a better Muslimah that I'm going to represent to society before my outer side represents Islam.
I face discrimination for my religion. 3, 2, 1.
So you have to ask yourself, how strong is his religion? How strong is his deen? If he's only so much, if he somewhat agrees. You have to ask yourself that question.
So I'm not a traditional Muslim female. I don't wear the scarf. When I was younger, I'd be walking home from the masjid with my mom. She wears the hijab. This was before September 11th even happening. She would get teenagers in cars driving by, spitting on us, cursing at us. She would always say, just brush it off.
When you show that you're a Muslim in any way, people kind of, like, you get those glances every so often. But what happened was that after, like, all this, like, election things happened, it's funny, people who you grew up with, people who you knew your entire lives are kind of looking at you a little differently. You know, so that kind of threw me off a little bit. I was like, wait a second, like, you know me. I didn't think this would be an issue, you know?
I personally have not experienced explicit discrimination. I conveniently can shave my beard and try to compensate almost, and it's sad to admit, but I know it's not my job to create a comfort space for another person. However, I would say that if you do guys confront it explicitly, try to think of it as an opportunity to teach as opposed to reacting with emotion.
I think it also depends on what the encounter is. Like, I had a beer bottle thrown at me after 9/11. I'm not going to go confront that person and be like, hey, let's build bridges.
Right.
Like, it's not, no. But if there's someone who's got a little bit of an attitude or, misconception, I'll work on that.
Women are equal to men.
Here we go.
3,
Watch Keisha.
2, 1.
Watch Wow! Wow! Did you see how fast Keisha just bolted over there? Shoot. Have to bring up the Quranic evidence now. I think I've said this before. Let me see. Now we're equal in terms of our faith, and in the eyes of God, we're equal. But in terms of like everything else, held to the no, we are not equal. Okay, that's just the bottom line. We are not equal. If that was the case, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. Women would be able to run sub 10 100-meter races. Women would be able to hurdle over 44-inch hurdles instead of 33-inch hurdles. Women would be able to run a 46 400-meter hurdle race, like if they were equal, This is just the way it goes, This is just how it is. And I'll read it in the verse before we listen to what Keisha has to say. Okay, let me see. All right, so Audu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Al-rijalu qawmuna ala nisaa bima faddala Allahu ba'dahum ala ba'd. So what that means is that men are in charge of women by right of what Allah has given one over the other. What does that mean?
I'm gonna somewhat change mine. Wow. I had to think about it.
So the reason I still don't agree and not strongly agree is that my understanding of human beings is
you
that
see how
that
Keisha
women
said
and
I'm
men-
shocked? I'm telling you, bro. Why do you think I won't even go near one? Even if she is Muslim, bro, it's still not happening for this very reason that we see right now.
general have different roles. Men cannot bear children, women do. In Islam, there's no discriminatory thing. There's nothing that
Okay, so this man just changed his opinion based on what a woman said. And granted that there are no men on the somewhat disagree or strongly disagree. None.
man can do that a woman cannot.
And I don't have to prove otherwise except to cite in the Quran when Allah addresses us, believing men and believing women. Same level.
But that is religion. He is talking about the religion. He is not talking about biologically. Heck, physically, mentally, emotionally. He's not talking about that. It's just on a spiritual level. That is it.
Agreed.
I read the Quran.
Verbatim.
So you can't tell me.
This in the court of law, the Quran explicitly.
You see how Keisha is getting combative now? I'm going to be honest with you. She probably doesn't even know Arabic. And I'm going to be honest with you. You can't really even read the Quran not in Arabic. I just now found out from my teacher that even the I believe it's the letter Ain has 35 different meanings. So what are you talking about?
I'm sorry.
Two female witnesses carry the weight of one male, and that's why I stood over there. I personally feel, and if it were up to me, it would be 50-50. There is no discrimination on my personal...
You see how this man is liberal? How he's pushing that liberal crap? Do you hear him?
bias, but
why are you standing there?
I'm acknowledging that the Quran prescribes something here, right?
No.
In Islam, we do get equal opportunities. Scientifically, no, we're not equal. Because men can do things physically that we can't do. Women can do things that men can't do. So my question would be, what aspect are we discussing?
Like what? The only thing you guys can do that we can't do is have birth. That's the only thing that I can think of right off back in, menses. They do have menses. Men don't have menses. That's the only thing I can think that that they can do that we can't do.
Personal belief versus Islamic belief versus societal belief, that's three different things. If I'm saying personally, I believe women can be greater than men. I believe women have...
Do you hear this? Now you have to ask yourself, did Nailatu alayhi salatu salam ever think this? Did he once say anything like of this sort? This is what happens. This is what happens.
Islam says that.
However,
Islam promotes that completely, yeah.
You can be Muslim and part of...
Watch how quick Keisha goes over.
3, 2, 1.
Dang, she was like the first one. Do you see how fast Keisha went over? I'm telling you guys. Telling you. Man. Telling you.
It's such a broad question that I'm going to stand here just to be on the safe side.
I'm a contradictory human being. I pray with one hand and commit sin with the other.
Not only did Keisha go over, but the weak old Muslim male went over too. I realized there was a reason why, I'm not really liked by a lot of these, by a lot of these Muslims. Because, I'm a traditional Muslim, I try my best to go by the book. And whatever concessions that I think need to be made are based on the approach that we had to do, which is what we call qiyas. And also outweighing, taking the lesser evil, which we try not to resort to. But though these two males would not like me, if I was in that room. And neither would the females like me at all either. But Keisha, you saw how quick Keisha just bolted over?
So I'm not in a position to be able to tell somebody that they're excluded from a whole faith if perhaps their faith in God is stronger than mine.
Okay, so you can be anything and be a Muslim, But I guess the reason I'm standing here is because...
No, you can't. You need to shut that up. Better stop it.
Because Islam is a law about the progression of the human race and about what is natural and what is not. Islam doesn't necessarily support like the lifestyle of the LGBT community. However, they do support them as human beings, and that is something like it's something that I've struggled with because they have my 100% love and support. I take a bullet for anybody. I don't care what their sexual orientation is. My best friend, he's gay, and we've had these conversations before. And
okay, let's see what the Hadith has to say about that. Let's see. Let's see. Well, let's take it a step further. Let's see what the school of thought has to say about that. And by the way, and forgive me for this video being drawn out, but there's a lot that can be taken from this. There's a lot to be taken from this. From this thing. So let's take it from the math perspective, and I follow the Maliki Method, which is basically a for you guys who didn't know, the Maliki Method was started by an individual by the name of Malik ibn Anas, rahmatullah alayh, in the city of Medina. And he had the benefit of actually talking to companions and actually getting the information from them, and so let's see what he has to say about the homosexuality. And mind you, he's getting his information from the Sunnah. So just understand that. Okay, let's see. Okay, so there is a book from a scholar, one of my teachers, who has since passed. He's actually the brother of Uthman Danfodio. His name is Sheikh Abdullahi Danfodio, rahmatullah alayh. And in his book, Kitabu an-Nisa'i fi Ahammi Masalihi, the book of advice regarding the most important issues of social well-being, he says, Mahirmu Farijatun Arba. So basically, he said, prohibited to you of the private parts. Yeah. Prohibited of the private parts are four. Al luwatu, al zina, al wata'u, fi dubir, al zawjati, wa istimna. So basically, the first one he said that was prohibited was homosexuality. The second one he said that was prohibited was fornication and adultery. And the third one he said that was prohibited was sodomy. And the fourth one he said was prohibited was masturbation. So these people need to like really wake up and stop doing what they're doing. But let's continue on.
He's told me that, you know what, Husna? I love you for you. I love you for everything that we've been through together. I don't care what it is that you stand for. And that's, you know, it's really comforting to know that you don't have to support a lifestyle to support a human being, to love a human being, and to love people unconditionally.
I love what you said. Yeah, and that's why I'm here, because the prompt was, can you be LGBTQ and Muslim? And yes, you can be anything and Muslim. If we're gonna get into the logistics of lifestyle practice,
you see how this liberalism crawls into the religion, and you just so if you are Muslim and you watch this, right? Let me ask you this question. And if you may be able to, you can check the yes box in the comments section. What would you rather follow? Would you rather follow these people in what they're saying, right? Or would you rather follow a scholar who was Hafiz in Quran and also a linguist, a master linguist? And also knew like all the books of hadith. Which one would you rather follow? Just let me know.
practices in the core of scripture. Yes, there are different lifestyles or things that are asked for in scripture, but there's nothing that says they are not welcome in the faith. They are not welcome in our houses of worship. They cannot pray. They cannot stand beside us. They don't fast. They are people.
It's very hard, I would say, to be a Muslim and, you know, part of the community.
Yeah. I agree with you. Beautiful statement.
I am American. 3, 2, 1.
I swear I'm not trying to make this controversial, but I somewhat disagree because I'm first Afghan. Then I would say I'm American.
So I do identify as Syrian first. And so what is America? So for me, that identity, because I grew up not feeling like a minority. And I was always proud American. I didn't talk about my Syrian heritage. I wasn't familiar with it. And then the last decade, it was like, whoa, I kind of whitewashed my history to be the proud American, to fit in. And everyone was like, if you took off your scarf, you'd be just another white girl. It's just, there's a battle. Like, I'm proud American, but it's like, what does American mean right now?
Yes.
With everything that's happening.
As a Muslim who just happens to be black in America, I've never...
You're a Keisha, though, at the end of the day. And we can already tell. That's the thing. You can already tell. Because, like, I hate to say it, but yeah, you can tell. You can just tell, man. The fact that these women are talking more than the men in this whole situation goes to show you how strong the men are. And, well, actually, how weak the men are and how masculine these women are. It's like, yeah, man. You see why I don't have many friends, right?
not known this to be my country, because that's what this country was founded on.
That's my
being able to be who you are, having the freedom to be that and not feel persecuted. And so
no, the country wasn't founded on that. The country was founded on pillaging, destroying, and killing, and importation of free labor that just happens to be your complexion. That's what the country was founded on. If that was the case of what you're saying, then why did they look at you guys as 3/5 of a human being if you had the freedom to be who you wanted to be? I digress.
So, yeah, that's how I live my life, and I'm not going to let anybody force me or talk me into thinking differently.
coffee and continue this conversation.
Yeah, let's go to Starbucks.
I love how you always bring up another side to it. It's great. It's great.
You see, when you have these liberals and then you have a Keisha at the helm, what happens, right? So, now, I want to go into the simple fact about women, like about the women not being equal to men. And I just want to show y'all something really quickly, and then I'm going to end this video. Because I actually, inshallah, one day I want to learn. Inshallah, I'm going to try to learn to do this, because to me, this is very, very awesome. What this is called is digit golf and what it is like trick horseback riding. And I'll just show you a few clips and just go to show you that men and women aren't created equal. But let's go ahead and look at it. So these are men doing tricks on the horses right now. And watch what kind of tricks they do. Look it. Look, standing on the horses, handstands on the horses. Okay. Like running on the side of the horses. Busting out handstands on the horses. Probably gonna go backwards on the horses. Putting kids on top of them, like having the kids stand on the horses, basically, or stand on their shoulders while they're on the horses. Now, do you see one woman doing this? Okay. Do you see one woman doing what this man can do? All right. Riding backwards on the horse. Okay, now let's look at what the women do. Let's look at what the women do and see if they're created equal. So these are the women riders. Do you see them do any handstands on top of the horses, or do you see them standing on the horses? Now look at him. Look at the difference. Look, doing somersaults and backflips onto the horse. With the kid on top of, look at it. Oh, I don't need to show anymore, but you know, all I'm gonna say is this, guys. Like when it comes to these liberal Muslims, you know, they're not doing, and the Keisha culture that they have let creep in. They're not doing anybody no favors, and they're sure as hell not doing Muslims no favors. Okay? Because you see, I hate to say it about those Muslim men there, but they basically been, they have no more machismo. Their machismo is finito, basically. Their machismo is finito, so you know, at the end of the day, like it's sad, man. But I'm telling you, the more like this happens, and the more liberalism that comes into Islam, and the more Keisha culture that comes into Islam, be prepared for the consequences of that. That's all I'm gonna say. But anyhow, Foolish signing out. Leave your thoughts, leave your comments.